Welcome into the Safeguard Podcast. I am Outnumbered.
Matt, can we please change the subject?
At Safeguard, we want to be versatile. We want to help in every way that we can and not just in one certain area or one certain product. We want to be holistic planners for you. A good agent or advisor should provide you good information regardless of whether they sell you something.
It is so frustrating that people are penalized for making a mistake when the government doesn't do anything to educate them.
Honestly, shouldn't it just be about helping people? Listen to this. 33% of men and 43% of women have no life insurance at all. That doesn't even count the people that don't have enough.
Insurance has the power to change people's lives.
You have got to be sure that you educate yourself before you make major decisions. Honestly, I couldn't imagine not being a Safeguard at this point. Hey guys, welcome back in to Outnumbered the podcast. We are on week 4. Episode 4. We're very excited, getting well into September now of 2021, and we're gearing up for the most busy time of our year, which is during the open enrollment season of Medicare and regular health insurance, and it's all gearing up. Very exciting time. Yeah. I am Matt, and this is my co-host.
I'm Stephanie.
Miss Stephanie, and we are the McKays.
Yep.
And anyway, today we're talking about does Joe Namath know Medicare? I'm sure you've seen these commercials and everything. But first, we want to give you our Safeguard scoop. We have a couple of really interesting stories, one good, one bad. We'll start with the bad and get better. So this is a crazy story out of South Carolina. Yes. This guy, to kind of start the story, he calls the 911 or whatever and says, "Hey, I've been shot. Some guy in a truck.
Yeah.
Driving by shot me." Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it seems like, oh, okay, bless his heart, whatever. Well, it turns out the guy that shot him had actually been paid by the guy. Mm-hmm. And this guy is a very successful lawyer in the area. Yeah. And apparently what it did was uncover all these other crimes or odd circumstances at the very least that suggest that he could have been involved in other crimes.
Yeah, it was a staged suicide attempt to commit insurance fraud gone wrong. So the idea behind it was he was trying to get somebody to kill him. Mm-hmm. Assisted suicide is what they're calling it. So his 25-year-old son could claim a $10 million life insurance policy. So he is now being charged with insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and falsifying a police report. And the guy who actually shot him has about 12 charges under him. It was a lot of charges on the other guy as well, and it was a staged attempt, and it was a lawyer, as we were mentioning, that was doing was the one trying to get himself killed, and it was one of his clients that he had helped previously that he was trying to have kill him.
Helped him get out of a speeding ticket.
Yeah, he helped him get out of a speeding ticket
several years ago.
Yeah.
And so what happens is this news came out also that there were some suspicious deaths with his wife and son that remain unsolved. Mm-hmm. There was also a housekeeper that died, and there were other suspicious deaths. So now it brings into question, was this police department, this entire legal organization of this county, were they all in cahoots protecting each other from horrible crimes?
Yeah, because he was a prominent lawyer, and I believe he was like the county attorney or something like that. Yeah. And so, they're investigating several deaths at this point, and also they're investigating him for potentially taking millions of dollars from the law firm that he was a partner of. There's millions of dollars missing, and that's being investigated. He this alleged staged suicide shooting took place the day after he stepped down from his employment at this partner lawyer firm that he is at, that was all the day before he was shot in the head for this suicide attempt.
And so they're all trying, his defense attorneys are trying to pin this on his opioid addiction, which, by the way, it's amazing how many prominent people that I've heard of, people locally, but also people that are kind of self-employed that aren't checked by maybe something at work or drug tests or something like that. These people, it's amazing what amount of people the opioid epidemic has affected people. But they're trying to use that excuse as a reason that he could have done all these crazy things. And, maybe he's mentally unstable, but frankly, I think he should fry for it. But whatever. My opinion, I don't think he should get away with it. But again, this is sometimes the way things go. And there have been apparently in that area, allegedly, quote unquote, there have been a lot of cover-ups in that particular county. So it's a really fascinating story, and it ties into we've been talking about fraud and just in general fraud. And so hopefully we can make your day a little brighter with this next story, which I think is much better.
Yes.
It's by a very famous health insurance company. It's actually stationed here locally to us in Louisville, in our home state. We're a little south of Louisville, but Humana has actually donated $25 million.
$25 million.
To be sure that low-income housing is able to be built by using tax credits in 8 states.
8 states, including the state of Kentucky. But they're trying to help people be able to get the proper care that they need. And one of the things that they're focusing on is proper housing for people so that they can basically try to get on their feet and live a healthier life. And one of the hardest hit areas for proper health care is the lower income sector. So they're focusing a lot of money on that area, trying to basically help in that situation. And $25 million, that's a lot of money, and that will go a long way. And hopefully people will see, hey, Humana is doing this big mission to help with housing, and maybe a bunch of other corporations will jump on too and start contributing, and maybe $25 million will turn into 25 billion or something. That's a lot, but wishful thinking.
If 1,000 companies would do exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, if some of these big billion-dollar corporations would just say, we're going to give a portion of our earnings for 1 year to housing, it would change the entire lower income division in America. It would totally change so much.
We thought that was really cool. No matter what you think, it was ulterior motives, they're trying to make money, whatever. It's $25 million going to help people. So, hey, if they make a little money, that's fine. But I don't think when you make that big of a commitment, you get full marks from me. That's
major props to Humana for that, because they're not obligated to do that.
Not 25. They could have done, $2 million. Or they could have done 500,000 and it probably would have been noticed.
Yeah.
But they did 25 million. It's above and beyond. I think that's great.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So we really thought that really deserves some kudos. Inner city is one of my big passions, and I love to give back, and I love that they're working on helping people that need a leg up. So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, kind of getting into our subject matter for today, we're talking about whether Joe Namath knows Medicare. And I'm sure that you've seen all these commercials, and they're going to ramp up. I'm sorry to say, it's health insurance time. You're going to start seeing it.
You start getting phone calls. You're going to start getting letters. Right. You might start getting knocks at your door. Be prepared. It is coming. They'll be coming at you from every angle with all sorts of advertising.
That's right.
Just be prepared.
So Stephanie's going to kind of take the lead and just go for it. We're just going to talk about different things going on with all these commercials and everything you see.
What they're talking about in the commercials, because It's basically, like he was mentioning, everybody's seen the Joe Namath commercials. Maybe you've seen the J.J. Walker version that's new, that's a little bit newer, but the guy from Good Times is now doing a commercial for the same idea for a different company. But basically, they're talking about, Medicare's new benefits, and you could be entitled to rides and home aids and home delivered meals and all these different things that they're flashing up. You could get dental, hearing, vision. You can eliminate copays. So here's the breakdown. Is this too good to be true? Yes and no. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by that, because that can be confusing. The benefits that they're talking about do exist on some plans. Not every plan and not in every county, but the benefits that they're talking about, some people are eligible for these benefits, not everyone. Okay, they're also giving you partial details, partial information. They're telling you what you want to know, not telling you what you need to know. Okay, so when they're talking about you can eliminate your copays, okay, for plans like that to fully eliminate copays, you have to be Medicare and Medicaid eligible. Okay, so the vast majority of people that are seeing these commercials are not going to qualify for that plan where they're talking about eliminating copays. So what they're doing is it's kind of a bait and switch strategy, really. It's a tactic of get your attention, have you call to see if you can qualify for these benefits, and they're going to tell you, well, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for that, but we can get you this instead. Okay? So they're promising you the world, but they can't deliver that. Okay? They're talking about you could get $144 back on your Social Security every month. Okay? What that is referring to is for those people who can qualify for extra help through the government. Okay, so that's only going to qualify for a few, select percentage of the overall population, okay? Which is great for those people who can qualify, but it's misleading for everybody else, okay? And so that's the thing about it is they're, like I said, they're promising you the worlds, but most people can't qualify for the benefits they're talking about. Now, there is a buyback or a give back benefit on some of these plans that can say give you $50, $75 back on your Social Security if you don't qualify for the extra help through the government. But in order to get those plans that have a give back, you're trading other usually needed benefits. Okay, so they are talking, they're talking about dental, hearing, vision being on these plans. But this plan is that they're talking about is called a Medicare Advantage Plan. Now, there is nothing wrong with the Medicare Advantage Plan, okay? Medicare Advantage plans are great plans for some people. Medicare Advantage plans are not great for all people, okay? That's the difference in having a local agent to talk to you about this stuff versus what these commercials are doing is just a call center that's trying to sell you one policy and that's it. They don't care about you. When you call in, it's a call center of agents, okay? And what they're doing is they're just going to enter in your information, see what you can get or whatever, but they don't know your local networks. They don't know what plans work with what area. Like they might be able to check your individual doctor, but you can get on a plan and think your whole network of doctors are going to be in there, and you might be surprised when you get a bill because it wasn't covered the way that you thought it was going to be. These people likely have never even set foot in your area and don't know the plans like a local insurance agent would. Okay? But some of the other benefits that they're talking about is they just go through all of these benefits. They talk about transportation. That is available on some plans, okay, where they'll take you back and forth to a doctor or a pharmacy, and that sort of thing. And the home health meals that they're talking about, what they're not telling you is that the only way you can get the meals to your home is if you've been in the hospital. They don't just provide these meals just because. They only provide them if you've been in the hospital. It's a great benefit for someone who's been in the hospital, but it's not available just to any and everybody. So that's what I was talking about, partial information. They're not they're not covering the needed details. They're not telling you when you go in the hospital how much of a bill you're going to receive. They're telling you all of these great benefits, but they're not telling you the meat and potatoes of what this is going to be like.
So to slow this down a little bit.
Sorry, I get excited.
I'm really excited. But basically, these commercials, there's nothing wrong with them in many ways. Joe Namath.
Mm-hmm. He's a paid spokesperson. Right. He's on this plan.
Yeah, he's getting paid to tell you that it's great. It's just like when Shaq says he might actually have athlete's foot or whatever, but or the general. Like I don't know if Shaq has the general coverage or not, but he says it's great. That doesn't mean that it is. Mm-hmm. It's just a commercial that he's being paid to endorse.
Yeah.
I doubt John Cena drinks much Mountain Dew, or he would not be ripped like he is with his jorts and all that. I mean, it's just like that. It's just a sponsored ad. When these people answer the phone, they are licensed insurance agents, and some of them are probably good people and all that, but they're in charge of covering large parts of the country. So there's no way, if you're calling from Wichita, Kansas, or I don't know, El Paso, Texas, or Biloxi, Mississippi, are they really going to know that area that well? Are they going to know that you're going to need Las Cruces Hospital or something? The University of Texas network, whatever it is.
I can give an example, okay, just to go along with what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, so here locally in Bowling Green, Kentucky, somebody that's based out of, say, Salt Lake City, Utah, is not going to know that they have to make sure in order to get prescriptions filled, that they have certain prescriptions for pain medicine, that they have to go through a pain clinic here locally. And if that pain clinic is not in network, then none of those prescriptions, because they have to go to that doctor to get the prescription for their prescriptions to be written, in order to be filled. Okay? So if somebody doesn't know to make sure that our local pain clinic is in the network, then that person that takes that plan can end up with coverage that they can't use because there is no other pain clinic that they can go to get their prescriptions for certain medications here locally. Mm-hmm. Somebody who's not local might not know to check that. And if the person calling them on the phone inquiring about this ad doesn't think to tell them that, they could end up getting coverage that's going to be bad for them. Just because they're not as familiar with our area and what pertains specifically to what we are doing here.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Our area has gotten a lot better. Our personal, Bowling Green and Western Kentucky kind of area has actually gotten a lot better in terms of having plans available. When we first started, it was
very limited.
2 companies, one of them wasn't any good.
Yeah, very limited at the time.
But there are definitely some areas that I've seen in looking at people that come into our office or people that are moving or whatever that are still, you don't have that many options. A lot of these companies are geared towards the benefits in major metropolitan areas. Mm-hmm. And that's when you have some of the transportation benefits and you have the buybacks and you have a lot more programs to help low income. Yeah. Some of those other ones, dental and vision and hearing and stuff like that, they may have incredible packages in New York and Nashville and Orlando and Miami or wherever, Atlanta. Mm-hmm. But maybe some of those outlying areas may not have as much coverage available in those.
That's a good point.
In those areas. So when you call in, if you don't have somebody that knows that, it's really difficult. Even if I'm a good agent and know what I'm doing, for me to pivot from, Valdosta, Georgia, to El Paso, Texas, or New Mexico or California or whatever. It's difficult. So when you call into those call centers, they're dealing with people all over the country, and they're just switching to whatever you tell them.
Yeah. And I do want to talk a little bit more about the individual plans, because I said, is it too good to be true? There are plans available with a lot of great benefits included in them for a Medicare Advantage plan. But what you need to take note of is every region is different. Even every county within a state can be different on what options they have. So it's so crucial that you check what options you have. Don't listen to one plan and make your determination based off that one plan, because you don't know all of your options at that point. You could have 20 options available to you. Now, I'm not saying you have to listen to all 20 options, but you can eliminate some of them that wouldn't make sense, and kind of compare and make sure that you're making a wise decision. That's something that call centers are typically just going to focus in on one thing, whatever it is to get you to make the sale. It's also usually a little bit more high pressure, kind of higher tactics to try to get you to go ahead and apply and enroll right then and there. And these people enroll a lot of people, so don't get me wrong, like they definitely have experience, they know Medicare rules, at least fairly well. They need to know them very, very well if they're going to be doing that. But as I'm saying, they might not know your particular county, your particular state at all. They might, they're going to tell you they know what's going on, but in reality, if the plan is going to work the way that you want it to, you need to make sure that you're talking to somebody that knows your area. It would tend to work out in your favor in that case.
Right. A couple of things that I would add to some of the things that you were saying. You talked about specific companies. You might see actually much more reliable, I think, ad from an actual company like a Humana, United Healthcare, Aetna. I've seen WellCare, right? In certain areas, these plans are great, but you don't want to just take the words from that one company and call in and well, I mean, you can do that, but hopefully you call in from an area that has a lot of options. Because, for example, I was looking for somebody in Illinois, and Humana was awful. I thought Humana was going to be great everywhere in the country, and it was horrible. But there were other options there that I hadn't even heard of, and that was in rural Illinois. There's more availability in like Chicago and Greater Chicago and whatever. But that's a good example. Also, for example, United Healthcare, one of the biggest, guarantee you tons of people know United Healthcare, AARP, something. You're going to recognize their branding. But in Western Kentucky, they have just come in, and there's several counties right in our area that just don't make any sense for Medicare Advantage because they don't even offer them. Or they're brand new and certain things are not covered. WellCare is another example that in certain areas they're great and they'll cover things. Aetna, you name it. Certain other companies as well that may not even be on that list. Really solid, but you want to pay attention to, okay, they've got a commercial going on, but does it help my area? Is it the best, or not even the best? Is it just a decent option in my area? Or am I kind of seeing a national commercial that doesn't really apply to someone like me? The other thing that I was thinking was these commercials are geared towards Medicare Advantage only. What if you are on a Medicare supplement and you're used to having no copays, you pay that huge premium a month? Well, if you go onto a Medicare Advantage, you're immediately going to have copays that you're not used to. So we have it happen all the time where people say, I went and did that $0 WellCare or fill in the blank, Humana, Anthem, UHC, whoever, it doesn't really matter. Molina, I don't know, whoever. And guess what happens? They just drop their supplement, and there was an exact reason that they were on that supplement, and now they're frustrated with it. And hopefully they haven't done permanent damage where they can't get back what they actually probably prefer. So don't get sucked into the moment. And, oh, Joe Namath,
Yeah.
Broadway Joe is talking to me. I can feel it in my spirit. And then you make the move, and then you realize, man, Joe didn't know jack about what he was talking
Joe
about.
does not know Medicare, guys. He just reads a cue card.
Yeah, and he's a sex symbol from 40 years ago.
He is not even on a Medicare Advantage because being a former NFL player, they have their own system that he is under. So he is not even on Medicare like the standard people are anyway. He has a whole different type of insurance. So
also, if they're getting paid by this mega commercial, they probably don't care about their $15 copay or not.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
probably,
he's got the money.
He's probably not worried about his vision insurance. I think he's taken care of.
I do want to circle back to where we were talking a little bit about like just calling into one company and enrolling without comparing to other companies. And the reason I say that is because I have an example of what can happen if you just call and enroll and you don't price check or compare or don't ever check on it in the future years, okay? We had a gentleman that called into a company, I won't say who because I don't want people to think it's a bad company because this company didn't do really anything wrong. But they just enrolled them in a plan. So the plan at the time was $59 a month, okay? That's what they were paying for, normal average Medicare Advantage benefits, normal max out of pocket kind of everything fell in line. There was nothing really wrong with this policy, but they didn't check with anybody else, any other companies or an agent who could compare multiple companies for them. And there were premiums that were out there that were cheaper that they could have gotten the same or even possibly more coverage. So what ended up happening is they came to us. This guy had been on this plan for 3 years, okay? And the prices on a Medicare Advantage can fluctuate. So at the time that I saw him, it was at 59. I think that had actually been higher at a couple points in his 3 years with them. I had the exact same plan with slightly better benefits for $15 a month.
Wow.
And it was the same company he was already with, same doctor networks he was already in, doctors, hospitals, all the networks was the same. It had a little bit more benefits as far as some of these extra, dental, vision, hearing, some of those extra things. And it was all a product of he called in directly to this company and he gave them his zip code and they wrote the policy that they knew. And they wrote what's called a regional policy, and there was a local one available that was a better price that had a little bit more benefits for the gentleman. So we ended up switching him to the local policy that worked better for him and saved him quite a bit of money. And it was just a product of whoever he talked to on the phone didn't know our region. And they just didn't offer him this plan that would have been better for him. I see that all the time where people just don't compare. That's why it's important to have somebody that knows what they're doing, that can compare this out for you and make sure you're not making a mistake or make sure you're not leaving money on the table or any of those things. But
little something I don't know if you were finished with your thought. Did you?
You're fine.
Oh, all right, okay, I'm sorry. But I had some people that were in a more rural county, and this is a local story, but whatever. It applies to a lot of people around the country, I guarantee it. But local people that were more rural county, that not as much population, not as many options, and they called in to a certain company, and they got on this plan that would work great in a metropolitan area. When you look at the benefits, it's beautiful, lots of super low premium, whatever. But it's an HMO, which if you don't know what HMO means, it means Health Maintenance Organization. It means that you basically have to stick in the network or you will not have any coverage unless it's in some kind of emergency.
The insurance plan does not pay for out-of-network
very rarely could you possibly go out of network. And the problem is that a lot of the network in the area, the places that they would go, some of the places were not really in network. So they talked to somebody that may have been based in our state that knows these plans are really good in Lexington and Louisville, or if you're in another state, say it's like looking at, you know, Nashville, Memphis, or Knoxville, and you're in Johnson City or whatever. You know, it's it creates an issue when maybe you talk to somebody on the phone, the plan looks pretty, but then when you put it in practice, shoot, I can't go to that doctor.
Yeah.
I've got to get referrals. I've got to do this. Wait, if I go out, I don't have any choice. You know, I can't go across the state line. What? You know, so having the local knowledge from someone, or at least doing a little bit of fact check before you just jump into something, is really crucial, because the particular people I'm thinking of, the guy has cancer and he needs to have versatility to be able to go where he went, and he got put on an HMO where a lot of the specialists are not in network in the area. And so come this fall, we've got to get him fixed. Hopefully they'll answer the phone and we'll talk, because we really need to fix their plan, because I think we can do a lot better than what they have currently.
Yeah.
So that's some of the issues that some of the local agents have to come and clean up when you just call into the hotline. And
we clean up a lot of mistakes from these call lines, these call centers.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not the fault of these people on the phone. Like if somebody calls, and I don't want to name a specific area of the country or something, but if it's somewhere way off that I've never dealt with, I'm going to have difficulty being as good with that area as someone that is local, that has been aware of that area for a long time. It is what it is. I can still do a good job, but there might be something silly that I miss if I'm not extremely thorough. Somebody that deals with that area all the time, they're going to be a lot more adept and a lot more quick to be able to give you all the options.
And the thing about these call center platforms, like he's talking about, an agent like us, we have a little bit of the time that we can go through and be thorough and make sure that the areas that we're servicing and the areas that we're helping, that we're doing well by them. In a call center, it's just get the cell, get off the phone, get on to the next call. They don't have that research where they're going to be able to, they can check, basics and stuff like that, but they're not going to be digging in deep, finding out these details and this information, because they have a certain number of calls a day that they're supposed to be making, and they're supposed to be hitting these sales goals. So they're just trying to get on to the next call.
Well, think about it. If you call into this random hotline you saw on TV, what are the chances that you're going to remember that number and call them back?
Yeah.
These people know, and we've done hotlines ourselves, or been a part of certain things where we do a call-in thing to try to help people in the state or another state or whatever. I have licenses in 17 different states now. So there's nothing, no one's committing a sin by doing this. But the person answering that phone knows that you're probably in a hurry and you just saw something on TV and you just want a quote. So they're motivated to try to get you to do it right then. Because we know if you hang up, you're probably not going to come back, and you're certainly not going to come back to that person.
Yeah.
So just think about what the motivation is with the people that you're talking to.
I'd also like to point out one thing that confuses people with those commercials is the red, white, and blue, and how it is branded to look more like Medicare.
True.
I would just like to point out the fact that this is not Medicare. They are not affiliated with Medicare. They are not endorsed by Medicare. They are just a company, just like any company, trying to write business, trying to sell insurance policies. They do employ licensed insurance agents, but they are not affiliated or endorsed by any of these government agencies, the IRS, the CMS, which is the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, any of those. They're literally just like any other insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted, just because it's red, white, and blue, I wanted to point that out so that there's no confusion that, oh, Medicare's talking to me and they say that this is a great plan and all of this stuff. That's not. Medicare does not endorse any one type of plan. That is their official stance on it. They do not endorse anything. Because it is up to the person to make that choice. So basically I said, are these plans too good to be true? And I said yes and no. Yes, there are plans that exist with these benefits. Yes, if you qualify for certain plans, you can potentially get these benefits. No, these plans are not a good fit for every single person. You can't put you can't put an insurance plan in a box that everybody will fit into the same one. It doesn't work like that. That's why there's so many options, okay? Because different people have different needs and different preferences. One person might hate Humana but love Anthem, or one person might hate Anthem but love Humana. So each company has to have a product for people that want to be with them. You know what I mean? And they have to make sure that there's enough available in each place to give people reasonable options. But so there are plans, as we said, that have these benefits, that have dental, hearing, vision, that have all of these different things add-ons. But you have to look and assess what you're willing to trade off to get those benefits, because there are sometimes cons to having a plan that has all of the benefits added to it. You're usually giving up something in exchange for that. So it's just something to consider. Are they bad? No. Are they good? Not necessarily. It just depends on the person. So it's just something you have to do. You have to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. Do your research and make sure you know that you are being led the right way and that you're not taking a plan that you're not able to use, like the guy who has cancer who can't see a specialist because his insurance won't cover it. That's about the worst place you can be in, is having something serious and not being able to get treatment for it. That's not where we ever want to see somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's about all I had on.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
What? Oh.
I thought of something else.
Whoops.
Sorry, guys.
Pause.
I was just thinking, because we talked a lot about commercials, but there are other types of advertising that are going to happen. You're going to see stuff on social media all over the place, advertising. You're going to get unsolicited phone calls saying, you're on this Medicare supplement. How much are you paying? Let me see if I can beat the rates, all of that. Just be aware. Like I said at the beginning, advertising is about to ramp up big time. Advertising for Medicare in of itself, for Medicare plans, it's not a bad thing. I mean, every company who represents and works with Medicare recipients needs to let people know that they're available to help them. And hopefully you can find a company who is really genuinely trying to help people and not muddying the waters and making things more confusing like some other companies might do. But you will be bombarded with commercials, even advertisements at grocery stores, letters and postcards and information in the mail. So just make sure that whoever you choose to work with is a knowledgeable individual. Don't please don't just not do anything. Especially if you're new to Medicare and you don't have any insurance plans, please at least have a conversation with somebody who knows what they're doing and make sure that you're making a wise decision. Because like I said, we have to come in and clean up messes all the time of people who have made some kind of a mistake on Medicare, whether through a call center or whether they made it themselves or whether they called into a company and made a mistake. I've seen that too. So just please talk to somebody knowledgeable and feel good about your decision and what you chose to do.
Yeah, there are options in your area. Someone is around, whether you realize it or not. There's got to be someone out there that can help you, that knows what they're doing. So if you run into somebody that doesn't, and you don't feel comfortable with it, and you don't feel confident, then you can move on from them. You don't always have to say yes.
Yeah.
You can reject that advice, move on to someone that you trust, and that's okay. But also, don't let the opportunity pass to get things done either. If you talk to 5 people and do nothing, and you still have the same problem, that didn't resolve anything either. So, talk to 15,000 people if you want, but get with somebody you can trust and do your best, and make sure that you're not in a poor position for next year.
Yes.
Um,
that was good.
So, kind of transitioning to other words of wisdom. The wise words of the day, or the week, I guess, comes from another person we don't know who is. Anonymous. It says, "Don't believe everything you hear. There are always 3 sides: yours, theirs, and the truth." We're talking about these commercials, talking about your story, talking about an argument you had with your family, whatever. Everybody has a side of the story, and the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
That being said, we're excited about what's going on with our podcast and our business. We are really close to October at this point. It's about to get crazy around here. So give your agents a break. Don't give them a hard time if they don't immediately get back with you. They have people pulling them
every which direction. Oh my gosh, yes.
But next week, I'm sure we're going to focus on health insurance and Medicare the next few months. Next week, we're going to take a break because September is Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the hidden value of life insurance. Talking about how it works and how you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah, how can you leverage life insurance?
Easy for her to say.
Apparently not. How can you leverage life insurance to help you?
Right, and that's what we're going to talk about, and we're excited about that. That's more my expertise, and I'm excited to talk about it. But like always, follow us, like us, retweet, hashtag, TikTok, whatever.
We're not on TikTok.
But like our stuff on YouTube. Most of our stuff is at SafeguardKY. Some of it's at SafeguardKYINS. We also have personal Facebook pages if you look up our names, Matt McKay and Stephanie McKay. And just give us a follow and like, and come along for the ride with us. Subscribe, all that good stuff. And we really appreciate you. Hope you all are doing well. Stay safe, and God bless.
Bye. See you next week.